Hello and welcome to another mermaid doll repaint video on my channel. I just love making mermaids. So I got a doll lot and there was this doll inside and she was missing one leg, so what better than to turn her into a mermaid. I'm gonna cut off all of her hair as close to the scalp as possible. And I tried to save it for maybe another doll repaint. And for this one, I'm putting inset eyes, so I'm cutting the head open. And there's already like a round part on the head, and I use that as a guide. So I'm gonna use tweezers to get all the hair plugs out, and then I'm gonna start cutting the holes for the eyes. And I use the original eye shape as a guide to cut the eyes open. I start from the center and then slowly working around. The plastic on the inside, it's thicker, so I'm gonna start cleaning it and thinning it out to make sockets for the eyes to go in. And this process takes a few hours because I try to go slowly. Then I'm gonna remove the Made in China stuff from her back. I'm just scraping it off using my X-Acto knife. And then I'm gonna take epoxy sculpt. First I'm going in the hips just to get them right in place where I want the legs to stay, and also to fill in the holes, and I'm smoothing it out using water. So after I got the initial placement, I let her dry, and then I'm gonna start filling in. I prefer to do this step by step, so for me it takes a few days to do it because I leave it to dry and then I make the next step, let's say. I'm going to take wire, and this is how I'm going to start creating the tail. I'm going to place it in the knees. And this is going to be my base. I'm going to put some epoxy and then shove the wire in. And again, I let it dry overnight just to harden, and once it's hardened, I'm gonna cut off the excess, put some silver foil so I don't use a lot of epoxy, and also so it's not that heavy. And then I'm going to use epoxy to start building the whole tail. And again, smoothing it out with water. Once it's done, I'm gonna start sketching out the fins. And I'm also going to make some small ones. And I'm using Angelina film, and I'm using a pink one. I'm cutting out the wires for the tail. Putting a few wires to make the shape. And also making little ones. I'm taking the Angelina film, cutting it almost exactly to the shape, and I'm going to use a flat iron. And also, quick tip, use cotton fabric, because if you use any other fabric it might leave like marks on it. Then using candle, I'm gonna burn off the edges to seal it and then give it a nice little shape. Connecting the two fins together, I'm going to cut off the excess. Shove it into her tail. And then connect everything together using epoxy sculpt. Also, I'm making holes on the sides of her hips with a drill. to stick in the little fins, and I'm using a nail file just to even out some bits and bobs. I'm also going to make the fin around her waist just to finish off the tail on the top. And I'm using this tool, which is like a rubbery tool, then putting some epoxy in the holes just to secure the little fins, and also adding some over. Once it's all dry and finished, I'm going to paint the fin around her waist with some pink acrylic. Then took some shimmer and put it into my Liquid X High Gloss Varnish and going over it just to give it some shine. Then I took sequins, cut them in half, and then cut those halves in halves, and I made my fins. I'm using silicone glue, which is for fabric and for everything basically. Then using this tool, I'm just gonna glue one by one, which took like 4 hours. And then once I'm done, I'm taking acetone and removing her factory paint. As for the neck that she has this tattoo, I had to work super fast because acetone eats the plastic. I'm going to make her eyes, and I'm warming up the polymer clay in between my hands, making a ball, and then taking this tool, made some circular dents for the irises. I painted them, and then once they were dry, I used Liquid X High Gloss Varnish and added some glitter, and this helps the glitter not lose its shine. But I didn't like the color, it was too light, and I created some new ones and I made them blue, which looked more sparkly and nice. Then once they're dry, I'm taking my UV gel and adding it, and then drying it with a UV lamp. Moving on to blushing the body, I have already applied 3 layers of Mr. Super Clear, and this helps my colors and my pastels to adhere to the plastic. Blushing the face, and I'm choosing colors close to her skin tone so I can create some shadows. As for the lips, I'm going in with colors, and I went for a little bit of a ombre nude look and highlighting with a little bit of white. As for her eyeliner, I chose to go for purple. And I'm using Prismacolors, just highlighting where the eyelid should be with a little bit of white. And I'm going back and forth as I add more layers of sealant. Layering will give me more color intensity. As for the center of the lips, I'm using watercolor and adding it with a thin brush, and adding some black lashes on the lower lash line. As for the eyebrows, I'm going seafoam green, which will match her hair. I like getting the initial sketch first, the initial shape for the eyebrows, and then I like to add some lines for the hairs, highlighter her cheekbones, and adding some gloss to her lips, and also some high gloss varnish with some glitter on her eyelid and lower lash line. I wanted this mermaid to be extra sparkly. I'm cutting off the head plug because it's in the way of adding the eyes, and I'm creating some accessories for her hair. I'm making it with polymer clay, and I'm putting a pin so I can stick it in the hair, and to decorate it, I'm using real seashells and some jewelry glue, which I couldn't get out, so I had to pierce it. So I'm just adding them, and some rhinestones. And And as for her top, I'm just protecting her and adding some silver foil, using the same color of polymer clay to make her bralette. I'm getting her shape now. Cutting it using an X-Acto knife to the shape that I would like it to be. And here it is. I've already baked it, and now I'm gonna decorate it using some gem glue and some rhinestones. And now it's time to place the eyes. And I'm gonna use some epoxy sculpt. I'm gonna put it around the eyes and press them into the head. And here she is. And I'm using my tool just to press them good as possible so they stick to the head. Putting some super glue, I'm putting her head back on. And as for the hair, because they were in wefts, I thought I'd glue them on with some hot glue, but I could not get the part to look nice and I hated it. So what I ended up doing was cutting them off the wefts, creating some wefts with glue, and then gluing them on. I braided the hair, added hair accessory, and now I'm taking some gem glue and some eyelashes with the help of my tweezers. So here she is, the finished result. I hope you guys like her. I will leave my Instagram below, and I need to figure out a way to get all the details of the dolls in my pictures as well, which is really hard. Thank you for watching.